Hello everybody, welcome to Kamtek Institute. Today we'll cover a very important chapter, that is ratio and proportions. If you are clear with this chapter, then the coming videos which we'll discuss will be very easy for you to understand. Today we'll discuss the basics in ratio and proportion and go higher up in coming videos. So here we start. Ratio of two quantities is the number of times one quantity contains another quantity of same kind. So relation between two similar quantities which shows how much bigger one quantity is to another is called a ratio, and A ratio B is written as A, two dots and then B. This is called A ratio B. In case A ratio B is equal to 3 ratio 4, then we write it this way: A ratio B is equal to 3 ratio 4. That means A is 3 times a particular number, whereas B is 4 times that particular number. Since B is 4 times that particular number, so B is greater than A for our understanding. And A ratio B is also written as A upon B, and 3 ratio 4 is 3 upon 4. This is how we write the ratio. Now we come to proportion. If two ratios are equal to each other, then they are said to be in proportion to each other. Supposing A ratio B is equal to C ratio D, then A ratio B is in proportion to C ratio D. It is written as A upon B is equal to C upon D. In numerical, 5 upon 20 is equal to 1 upon 4, then they are in proportion to each other. And the reason for that is, we know if we divide this ratio 5 upon 20 by 5, both the numerator and denominator, we get 5 ones are 5 and 5 fours are 20. So we see that 5 upon 20 is equal to 1 upon 4. So these two ratios are in proportion to each other. And that is how we do it, right? So we come to duplicate ratio. If two numbers are in ratio, then the ratio of the squares is called duplicate ratio. For example, we are given A ratio B and we need to find the duplicate ratio. So A square ratio B square is the duplicate ratio of A ratio B. Similarly, we are given 4 ratio 9 and we need to find the duplicate ratio. So it will be square of these two numbers, that is 16 ratio 81, which is the duplicate ratio. We come to question number 1. It says find the duplicate ratio of 3 ratio 4. We'll square both these numbers 3 and 4 and we get 9 is to 16, which is the duplicate ratio of 3 ratio 4. Now we come to sub-duplicate ratio. If two numbers are in ratio, then the ratio of the square root is called sub-duplicate ratio. Supposing we are given A ratio B and we need to find the sub-duplicate ratio. So it will be under root A ratio under root B. Similarly, if we are given 225 ratio 49, so the sub-duplicate ratio will be under root of 225 and under root of 49, that is 15 ratio 7. Hope it is simple for you to understand. So we come to question number 2. Find the sub-duplicate ratio of 64 ratio 25. So in order to find the sub-duplicate ratio of 64 is to 25, we have to take the under root of 64 and 25. So that will be 8 ratio 5, which is the answer to the question what we're looking for. Hope you have understood duplicate ratio and sub-duplicate ratio. Fine. So we come to triplicate ratio. If two numbers are in ratio, then the ratio of the cubes is called triplicate ratio. For example, we have a ratio A ratio B and we have to find the triplicate ratio. So it will be A cube ratio B cube, that is cube of both the numbers. For example, we are given 3 ratio 4. So the triplicate ratio will be cube of both these numbers, that is 27 ratio 64. So if we are given a question, find the triplicate ratio of 7 ratio 5. So we'll cube both these numbers, we get 343 ratio 125. Okay, so we come to sub-triplicate ratio. If two numbers are in ratio, then the ratio of their cube roots is called a sub-triplicate ratio. For example, we are given A ratio B and then the sub-triplicate ratio will be cube root of A is to cube root of B. Okay. Like we have a question number 4 which says find the sub-triplicate ratio of 512 ratio 729. So here we'll take cube root of 512 and 729. So we get 8 ratio 9. That is the answer what we're looking for. Hope the things are clear to you. So before proceeding further, let me clarify one thing. In case you have given x ratio y, then x, the first number, is called the antecedent, and y, the preceding one, is called the consequent. Remember this, okay? So we come to compound ratio. If two or more ratios are given and the antecedent of one is multiplied with the antecedent of another and respective consequents are also multiplied, then the ratio obtained is called the compound ratio. For example, we have A ratio B and C ratio D, and we have to find the compound ratio. So we'll multiply A with C and B with D. So we get A into C ratio B into D. This is called the compound ratio. Okay? We'll do with an example. Find the compound ratio of 2:5, 6 ratio 7 and 4 ratio 3. Here we'll multiply all the three antecedents of the three ratios, that is 2 into 6 into 4, which become the numerator, and all the consequents like 5 into 7 into 3, which become the denominator. So 2 into 6 into 4 is 48, and 5 into 7 into 3 is 105. So the compound ratio will be 48 upon 105. Hope it is simple, you understood. Okay? So now we come to inverse ratio. If two numbers are in ratio and the antecedent and consequent are interchanged, then the ratio so obtained is called the inverse ratio. Supposing we are given A ratio B, which we say A upon B. But if we reverse both the antecedent and consequent and interchange both of them, we put B over here and A in position of B, and we get B ratio A, or we write it as B upon A. This is called the inverse of A ratio B. Okay, I hope it is simple, you understood. Okay, so with this we come to the end of the video where we learned the basics in ratio and proportion. In the next video, we'll discuss some problems that will give you in-depth knowledge of this subject, that is ratio and proportion. It is quiz time now. Do it yourself. Do these sums and send me your answers in the comment box given below. We also look forward to your feedback. Thank you so much and bye-bye.